All right, let's talk about some book specific items that are important to know. You should never place a bet twice. I mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. If you do this, you're gonna look suspicious. If you place $1,000 on a line that is broken and you do it twice, the trading team is gonna flag your account and they are gonna limit you. Poof, there goes your account. That's not fun for anybody, especially on DraftKings. This is the biggest no-no on DraftKings. If you do this, you're gonna get limited immediately. There are some sites that you can kind of get away with it. FanDuel is the only one, in my opinion, that you have a tiny bit more leniency. And this is because you have markets that you can see exactly what your limits are. So you can place it twice on there and still stay within your limits. That brings me into my next point about understanding your limits on specific books. It's important to know that some books will not show you your limits. For example, DraftKings. If you place a bet on DraftKings, or type in something into the bet slip here, it will not tell you what your limit is. The only time that you know your limit is when it goes through and it might say trader reviewed. If it says trader reviewed, you bet too high. And that means the traders are looking at your account and you're probably on your way to getting limited. So it's important on DraftKings to stay under that $1,000 mark. And if you're betting on college sports, you want to stay under 500. Caesars is a sports book that takes a lot more action. You can bet a lot higher on this. But still keep in mind that on Caesars, you still can't see what your limits are before you place the bet. So bet with caution, especially on college sports. Same rings true with BetMGM. You don't know your limits before placing your bet. Sites like Ballybet or Bet Rivers, any candy provider, you do know your limits before you place your bet. This is by clicking a bet slip, clicking a bet, loading it up with $1 million and placing the bet. It will re-offer you whatever your max bet is. In this case, I'm limited on this account, so it's only 97 cents. But that's the way that you do it for any market. As I mentioned before, other sports books like FanDuel, you can see exactly what your limits are when you just put some dummy numbers into the bet slip. You can see exactly how much you can place. The same is true for ESPN Bet. You can just go and type into the bet slips and it'll show you what your limits are. There's plenty more books that you can use to ARB, so just try to do your research before you use a specific sports book to know exactly what the limits are. Something that's also important to know is to think about when they pull markets. A lot of sports books will pull certain markets during certain times of the game. So always keep an eye on the clock. If it's towards the end of a quarter or a period, they're gonna pull alternate markets about 99% of the time. And they'll usually do it with a few minutes left or 6 minutes left, depending on the sports book. So keep in mind the clock whenever you're about to place an ARB. Another thing to know about the sports books is that some share the same odds provider. What I mean by this is that they have these same odds. So if you look at Bet Rivers and Ballybet, for example, these two sportsbooks will have the exact same odds for whatever bet that you want to place. It's because they use the same provider that's called Kambi. This is the same for Bet Rivers. This is the same for Ballybet. This is also the same for Unibet. This is important to know because if you get limited on your Bet Rivers account, you know that you can instantly make a Ballybet account and it uses the same exact odds.